You are looking live at SNL. Landry Locker, Cody Stutes with you. Trade deadline has come and go, and the Texans were a complete no-show. Take it away, Cody. Let me know your thoughts on Caserio and D'Amico electing not to make a move.
Yeah, and I understand that they don't operate or they don't like to think about like, oh, well, the rest of the teams in the division go and do something. We should do something. To not find anything at this deadline, even something on the edges, or to jettison a player that they don't use, or can't get active when everyone's healthy. I'm a little surprised. Like, you're not that far off from being a 500 football team. You keep telling us every week at the podium that you were close to winning a football game. Like, maybe a little bit of a talent infusion, even on the edges, would have done something. I'm not advocating for trading one of the premier picks that they have. You know, they got 2 second-round picks in next year's draft. I'm not advocating for that, but you can't tell me there was nothing that could have been done to even just slightly improve this roster.
Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying. I just think at this point, after seeing what we've seen the last 2 weeks, like there was a time not too long ago where it was like, maybe you trade for Njoku, or maybe you trade for Breece Hall. And Breece Hall, according to Diana Rossini, 3rd-round pick would have gotten Breece Hall. But at this point, I really think the Texans are at kind of a crossroads where if the season continues to go the way that it's going, they're going to have to answer some really tough questions. And I'm not saying that their whole philosophy is going to change, but I am saying there's a chance that they're going to have a new play caller for the 3rd straight year, and he might not like what they have. There's a chance the guy that makes the trade now might not be here. Like maybe Nick Caserio is like the coming to Jesus meeting. And I just don't know that this team is a player away, or even
is a player away, or even all right, the suspense is killing me, but we'll find out here in a moment if they are a player away. Look, they didn't make a trade on a day where the Colts got better, where the Jacksonville Jaguars got better, and where the Tennessee Titans added a little bit of draft capital in the future. Landry mentioned the 3rd-round pick that the Jets were reportedly asking for Breece Hall. Well, they're fucking idiots for not trading him, because they're not going to get a compensatory pick for him, and they had too high of a price on him. He doesn't want to be there. You can watch it play out on social media. They should have traded him for something. Were the Texans interested? I don't know. Were they willing to trade the 3rd-round pick that they have in their possession from the New York Giants? Probably not. Would that have been a good trade? Absolutely not. Could they have traded one of those 4th-round picks for half a season of Breece Hall? Yeah, but they love Nick Chubb. So a trade for Breece Hall would mean that there would be less Nick Chubb, but they seem to love what Nick Chubb brings to the table. They don't love Woody Marks as much, so it would have been less Woody Marks. So the Breece Hall situation and what the Jets were like, the Jets are silly for holding on to him. They should have moved him. I don't know if the Texans were interested. I would have traded the 3rd for him, but you were talking about how, in the recent weeks, it probably wouldn't have made sense to go and make any sort of big substantial move.
Yeah, I don't think they're a player away. I don't know that they're even like a tweak. I think it's a fine team. It's a good team. It might not be a good team, but I don't know what the trade really benefits at this point. I don't know that there was just some pivotal move that they could make. And quite frankly, I don't trust them. Like, quite frankly, I don't trust them. Like, I don't trust, even if they traded for Breece Hall. I asked this question on X, like, how do they use him? Like, does Woody Marks not play anymore?
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. They would just stop playing Woody.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm sitting here and I'm saying, okay, I like Breece Hall, I would like to, but then the last few weeks have just shown me that they can't even handle those types of weapons. So I think at this point, they need to value the assets like draft picks, and they need to start drafting well, because they're about to have to start paying some guys, and some of the guys that they've decided to pay, those contracts are about to kick in. So they're going to have to figure it out. I don't think they've really had a grasp of value of draft picks, really. And at this point now, with moving forward, just throwing away a 3rd-round pick is maybe not in their best interest. And even with Breece Hall, let's be honest, how far is this team really going to go? And the other thing is, he might be on the market next year, so you can maybe get him through free agency or something like that. So I didn't feel like this team there was like an overly impactful move that could be made.
Well, I just love how everything's always too expensive for the Texans, despite them having more than enough assets. Like, oh, it's too expensive to trade up in the draft. Oh, well, you had Washington's second this year. You had Washington's fourth this upcoming year. You had multiple, picks on day 2. Like, everything's too expensive to trade up. So they don't trade up in the draft. Offensive linemen in free agency are too expensive, so they don't sign them. The trade deadline, it's too expensive to get anybody at the trade deadline. So it's like everything's just too expensive, despite having lots of
What did you want? What did you want? Like this is like I'm.
But this isn't just a trade deadline discussion. It's just the way that Nick Caserio.
It's trade deadline show.
But I understand, but it's a bigger picture issue about the general manager of the Houston Texans, the guy that makes the decisions, the guy that makes the trades, the guy that makes the picks, the guy that signs these contracts where he just leaks value and pays above market value. So when they do invest in something, they never pay what everybody else would have paid. They always pay way more. And so I just don't like the way Nick Caserio's operated for the better part of a year.
He's not. He doesn't have any grasp of assets, and maybe that's part of it. They don't want him to make a trade until they can kind of evaluate the situation. But I don't have like a specific move. Breece Hall was the one that I would bring up, but again, I don't trust Nick Caley to use Breece Hall right at this point. I just really don't. So whatever, figure it out. Go out there. Maybe you get up to 5-5 and then you back into the playoffs and we'll see what happens. But I wasn't like overly disappointed that they didn't make moves. Now, I did look around the division and it was kind of interesting to see what the hell was going on with Jacksonville and for damn sure with the Colts. And as a football fan, I'll be honest, I'm pretty excited to see Sauce and Stingley on the same football field twice a year. I mean, this has been one of the ongoing debates when the Texans decided to take Derek Stingley. Early on, it looked like Sauce was a better player, and then Stingley kind of found his groove, and then Sauce just kind of got lost in New York, like Home Alone 2. Like he was basically Home Alone 2, lost in New York with a shit franchise, and now the Colts. They're playing some good football, and they decide they're going to go trade for Sauce Gardner. So I don't know how much better this makes Indianapolis. It damn sure doesn't make them worse. But from just a football fan standpoint, and as someone who's kind of covered this storyline from the jump, even leading up to the draft, where the talk was Sauce or Stingley, I'm excited that we get to at least watch it twice a year now.
No, this makes them a much better football team. And they were running guys out there that, frankly, had no business being starting corners in the NFL at different portions of this season. So it makes them a much better team. And they invested heavily in this trade. I mean, they spent 2 future firsts to make this thing happen. And they must feel super confident that they've figured out what their quarterback situation is and that Daniel Jones is the guy, because they did not leave themselves any margin for error in trying to find a different quarterback. It kind of is improve the team now. It's a long-term move because he's under contract for the next few years at a extremely high number, Sauce Gardner is. And then that kind of it sort of backs them into the quarterback corner that they've decided to be in. And so far, Daniel Jones has worked out for him. I just don't know that, anybody long-term should be believing that's the answer for him, that they figured that thing out.
Their roster situation is a little bit different too, because if you look at the way the Colts are built, they don't pay too much for wide receivers. They have underrated guys that are good. Their tight end is pretty much as impactful as a wide receiver, and he's on his rookie contract. Their best player, and maybe the MVP, at least in the discussion of MVP of the league, plays a position where if you're producing at an elite level, it's the biggest bargain in all of sports based on what they provide you with. And nobody thinks Daniel Jones is like going to break bread depending on how long they roll with him and what they decide to do at quarterback. So the layout of their roster is such to where they can make moves like this and inherit a cornerback who's the highest paid at his position. I think Sauce passed Stingley after Caserio decided to give $5 million more to Stingley. So the makeup of their roster allows them to do these types of things financially, just because it's kind of a unique layout for what they have. The Texans, on the other hand, I mean, they're about to have to make some big decisions when it comes to Bills, and some of the other stuff that they've done is going to impact them. And that might be why, despite the fact that hasn't been the case the last couple of years, as you mentioned with Caserio, that might be why mid-round picks are of more value to the Texans.
Oh, sure. And they've moved out of the first round, and that saved them a couple of bucks on the ledger here a little bit. And any sort of their, the pissed away money's not going to be stuff that's lingering for a few years. Like the Cam Robinson stuff, the Darrell Taylor stuff, the Neiman stuff, that all comes off the books at the end of this cycle. It's not like they, jettisoned a bunch of useless guys for a bunch of money that's going to hang around for a few years. So yeah, the Texans definitely have some long-term and whatever they have to do to fix this offensive line, if they decide to financially invest in it again after Caserio invested in it previously with guys that were already in the building. That's another thing. The Colts have 2 expensive offensive linemen, and then they have a bunch of guys on their first deal in the NFL that are playing really well. So like their O-line's pretty squared away as well. So that's not changing or getting adjusted in the next couple of years either.
It's almost like another version, like an indirect version of when you're not paying a quarterback a lot of times it's when he's on his rookie deal, you're aggressive, overly aggressive. And it's almost like, in a weird way, the Colts, although Daniel Jones isn't a rookie or anything like that, but this is kind of like their all-in phase where they're trying to figure some stuff out. And it does, I guess, I don't know if you believe in the send a message to the locker room crap that people talk about, but I mean, it does let your guys know right now that are tied with the best record in the AFC. Hey, we're going all in here, and it's now or never for us.
Well, it's a multi-year investment too. It's not like Sauce Gardner's, walking away at the end of the year. Like he's there for the next, 4 years. Like it's like, hey, we're going for it this year. We believe in you guys in this locker room now. And for you guys that are going to be here after this year, so is Sauce. And we believe that we're going to be running this AFC South for the next few years. And I don't see why they wouldn't feel that way.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Chris on the chat says Colts got a big win with getting Gardner. It's not a loss. I mean, we'll see what the impact of the move is long term and what they give up this year. I mean, what are you giving up? The 26th pick in the draft, the 20, like it's, they already anticipate, I'm sure, that this year it's going to be later. And then it maybe goes, next year we'll see what happens with them. But that's probably also another thing that they look at is that, hey, we're already off to this good jump. It's going to be in the 20s. So maybe we can get a little creative.
Yeah. Their hope is, at worst, we gave up the 19th pick in the draft, and at best, we gave up the 32nd pick in the draft. That's their hope when they make this trade, but for both years, because they feel like they're in a good spot.
Logan wants to fire Caserio. He says he doesn't want to improve the team.
Well, Logan, Jake Hansen got an extension this week. The Texans didn't do nothing this week. They extended Jake Hansen. So you've got a depth linebacker and a special teams guy under contract for next year. So I think that's improving the team. I tell you what, I think Caserio is public enemy number 1 if this thing goes south this season. He might already be public enemy number 1 for everybody, though. D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caley are doing a hell of a job making it a 3-horse race. But the way that this offseason played out, the disappointment to this point of the season and what it could be, Caserio could skyrocket up people's public enemy rankings.
I just like my biggest fear for this thing. I think the corniest thing in football is the didn't give up team. Like I would rather you just be bad or be good and that's it. But like the corniest bit for me when it comes to coaches and measuring is, well, they didn't give up. They finished strong. They finished 9-8. They never quit. They started out 0-3 and they didn't quit. I hate that bit. I think it's just like a big eye roll for me. We never quit. Like D'Amico seems like the perfect didn't give up coach. Like, oh, we took it down to the end of the season. We went 9-8. These guys never gave up in here. They kept believing, and I'm just like, oh God, don't be that they didn't give up team. Either just fall flat on your face to where there's like these tough conversations are easier to have, or just perform better, get in the playoffs, and make a run. Like the ultimate didn't give up was the Bill O'Brien. They started out 0-3, and then he became king after that. The 2018 season that we often point to. Like the didn't give up thing is just always like the biggest eye roll for me. And that's my nightmare for this Texans team is they're just the didn't give up. They play themselves into like the middle of the first round. Nick Caserio and D'Amico Ryans are feeling themselves. Like I think tough discussions and tough decisions need to be had, or they need to figure something out, and they need to turn this around. But I don't want this to turn into these guys didn't give up. That bit just wears on me.
Oh, it'd be incredible if they ended up in the teens and everything's too expensive in the trade-ups. Can't go get an offensive lineman in the draft.
And John McClain's chain says this: you don't want to be the Steelers. I agree. It's a terrible place to be. It's a terrible place to be.
Yeah, because you just never have the opportunity to infuse the proper amount of talent to move to the next level.
The Jets they've gone through hell the last 3 years. This is great. And I know that they had this same opportunity 2020 and they pissed it away. But I mean, they did draft the offensive and defensive rookie of the year, and we're not even counting Breece Hall in the mix. And then they kind of pissed it away because they went all in. But the way that they bottomed out the last 2 years, it appears there's at least some light at the end of the tunnel and there's some sort of hope. Like if they would have just, I don't know, stayed at the 7-8 win range, that wouldn't be the case. So I think it was Mark Cuban who said it, that the worst place you can be is the mediocre treadmill. And I don't want to say D'Amico's first 2 years have been mediocre, but I don't think that's like some sort of standard.
Well, again, they are here in the potential mediocre treadmill section of the NFL because they failed in the offseason to make the moves to take that next step.
Exactly, which is why I sit here and I say I don't know that I trust them to make a move that's impactful. Like they've developed trust issues over the course of this. And here's the other thing. And the trade deadline show is different because I know a lot of people who've watched us throughout the years. It almost seems like you're putting a bow on the season, but it's almost like a separate from for a minute, and you look at the small picture and you look at the big picture. And I think it's a good way to grasp the organization, like in the state of where things are. There's a lot of moves that they've made that aren't even necessarily considered bad moves now that could easily prevent them from getting where they claim they want to get, which is in the AFC Championship game and playing later in the season, somewhere they've never been as an organization. And the one that I'm going to point to is the Will Anderson trade. Will Anderson's a good football player. He's a good football player. But in order to acquire Will Anderson, you gave up the number 12 overall pick, the number 33 overall pick, a first-round pick the next year, and I think even more for Will Anderson. Okay, that's okay. I mean, if you make some noise and you do something great, then okay, you can look back and say that's awesome. If Will Anderson turns into Myles Garrett or Max Crosby or something like that, okay, I don't think you're going to regret it. Micah Parsons, I don't think you're going to regret it. But when you look at the holes on the roster and you look at what Will Anderson's doing and you ask yourself, okay, could have had this guy at 12, Jackson Smith and Jigba. Could have had this guy in the second round, Sam Laporta. Could have had an offensive lineman a little bit later. Would this team be in better position with those three guys instead of that one guy? But then it gets even crazier. Because not only did you trade those 3 picks, but now you're going to pay this guy like he's Max Crosby, like he's Micah Parsons, like he's Daniil Hunter. Still a really good player, but that's going to prevent you from getting even more guys and adding them to the roster when you have a heavy contract like that. So that's what's going to be. And then you talk about CJ Stroud. Great pick. Like if CJ Stroud never plays another snap, and that's not what I'm saying, but like you made the right, you made a good selection at number 2, no matter what, with what you got from CJ Stroud. But now, are you going to pay CJ Stroud? Is he going to be Derek Carr, Trevor Lawrence, where you're paying him like he's elite and he kind of handcuffs you and he's not capable of elevating you to the level to where you're able to overcome those types of things? Jalen Petrie, okay, he's a great culture guy. D'Amico Ryans likes him. You're paying him like he's an elite nickel corner now. And what happens when you need a guard? You're not going to be able to get a guard because you're paying a guy that's a good nickel back like he's one of the best in the game. It's no longer a bargain. Daniil Hunter, next year he's going to be one of the 5 highest paid edge guys. Does he look like one of the 5 best edge guys in the league right now? I would probably argue no. I don't think I would have to argue too hard. So that's the other thing. Like when you talk about assets and you talk about all in and stuff, like the opportunity that they had when CJ Stroud was on his rookie deal is gone. And not only is it gone, I think they screwed up miserably in the manner in which they handled it and how they did it. So that's another thing where after this season, they're going to have to come together and they're going to have to figure out what's next. What are we going to do? And it could be as simple as finding the right guy to oversee the offense. I don't think it sounds so simple based on what these guys have shown the last 2 years and based on the fact that you appear to have an extremely defensive-minded head coach who kind of has a blind spot for offense. So that's kind of where the Texans are right now and what they've got to figure out moving forward.
Yeah, if you make that Anderson trade, which they did, it sort of elevates the necessity that you have to get so many other things correct. And then a failure in those with the offensive line, some of the other spending and things like that, it sort of compounds those failures a little bit more than if you had 3 other high drafted guys on the roster that were playing really well versus just having Will. So I certainly understand that. It's all a part of the evaluation because it'd be silly to just evaluate a guy in just one little area from a general manager standpoint. Like you need to evaluate the body of work and decide, okay, the guy did this. Can he take us there? If you're doing a general manager assessment as, D'Amico Ryans, hey, I can or can't work with this guy. It's like, it's a full assessment of, and that's another thing too, as kind of the top guy, even if you co-sign some of it, you can sort of push blame off on, it didn't really work. Nick did this, it didn't work. And it kind of insulates you a little bit.
Yeah. It's just like the state of things moving forward as like the assets become more scarce. Kind of crazy to think about. Let's go back to the soup.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Main 94 says breaking news: Texans signed Lonnie Johnson. Remember when they were quiet and then that was their first move, Lonnie Johnson? That would be what's Lonnie doing? Is he in the league still? Probably not. Josh Arnoldy says no Brees just means Dare is the chosen one. I think we kind of knew that before. Sid Texans fan says Caserio wasting Super Bowl caliber defense, could have added 2 decent starters and gave us a chance. You never know what happens next year. Who though? Like Breece Hall and Njoku? Is that who he's saying? Is he saying you had Breece Hall and Njoku and you have a chance? I don't think they know how to use these guys.
I am not advocating for an overpay on Breece Hall, not for a half a season by any means. So I am not advocating for that. They should not have even thought about trading the Giants' third that they have for Breece Hall. So I would not sit here and advocate for that. It didn't seem like, it's not like a bunch of O-linemen that you really wanted moved in this trade deadline. Nobody really traded O-linemen in this. So it's not like you're like, oh, they should have got this O-lineman and it would have fixed things. Like they're not an O-lineman away from fixing the O-line. They're not a running back away from having a respectable offense or even a bad offense. They're awful right now. So it's like, to an extent, I understand if D'Amico Ryans was like, yeah, let's not. On the off chance that at the end of the year, someone he handpicks is calling the shots instead of Nick Caserio. So I certainly understand that from D'Amico Ryans' standpoint. You can't tell me there wasn't something, just a little fringe move, like a better tight end than Bryant, or at least another tight end body.
They might go someone on the street. You never know.
Yeah, maybe that guy's out there. Yeah.
Rich Boy Jay says Landry been on the low grade with these takes. Like, which one do you disagree with, Rich Boy? You can give some substance. You're here a lot.
He doesn't like the Will Anderson thing.
Which one? Like, I don't understand. I said he was a good player. I just said that decisions that you make, there's a snowball effect as assets become more scarce. So in other words, when your roster's not complete and you traded 3 draft picks for one guy, and then you have to pay that guy and you're not able to get more than that, then there's kind of a snowball effect of that. I mean, you see teams trade really good players, really, really good players that didn't demand that much equity. So there's kind of a snowball effect of it. I don't know. Like, that's not really hard to say. I said he was a good player. I just said it's prevented you from adding more of a complete roster. And is Will Anderson able to overcome that? The pressure is going to be even higher when it goes up. So you also had substance, Rich Boy. It's all right. You don't have to cry for Will Anderson. I like Will Anderson.
It also magnifies failures is another thing too.
Yeah, I mean, and that's
magnifies
the whole
the failures.
point. Yeah, that's what it is. WDKS Kando says you go from we have unused talent to we need more.
We have unused talent to we need more.
I don't get that. I'm not sure.
We have unused talent to we need more.
Jamie says we're shitting on Will Anderson. No, I don't think it's shitting on Will Anderson. I'm just saying it's very expensive. It's going to be tough to get the assets. It's not tough. It's not tough to really see, especially once you pay. It should be easy to see. Sometimes guys are getting poked in the eye with certain things. It's not tough. You can elaborate on it though. So would you have traded a 3rd round pick for Breece Hall? Diana Rossini said that was the price.
Hell no. I mean, this pick that you have is the Giants pick. It's not your pick. Not that you're that much different than them in the order, but that 3rd round pick is likely going to be a top 70 selection in the NFL. So I would not have traded that for Breece Hall for 9 games. I mean, he's good. He's not changed the outcome of this offense in 9 games as the running back good.
Yeah, I was down with it, but we've seen that this team, they've had multiple opportunities to beat good teams since we first started this, and they've kind of failed to do it. And I do wonder what the rotation looks like if they get Breece Hall.
Yeah, I don't think it eats a ton into. I mean, I think don't
say this.
They chop off a little bit of Nick Chubb's workload. They chop off Woody's workload. They give it to Breece Hall.
Just a little bit of Nick Chubb.
Yeah, they chop off a little bit of Nick Chubb's workload, and they chop off Woody's workload, and they hand it to Breece if they got him. And then you're down a 3rd round pick for, a guy that helps keep Woody off the field.
D Skills H Town says this staff could have Tom Brady, Jerry Rice, and Emmitt Smith in their primes and have no idea how to use them. Clueless on the offensive side. Yeah, it's deeper than personnel, I would say, for sure. So I would agree with that. It's much deeper.
D Skills is wrong. If they had Tom Brady, he would know what to do. He would do it exactly like Nick Caley wants it to be done. D Skills, if they had Tom Brady, that's exactly the Patriots style of offense that you would want. You'd want Tom Brady. You'd want the Patriot way, which actually was TB12. That's what you would want, D Skills.
HD AV Traveler says, afternoon, Texans didn't do anything at the trade deadline. No, LOL. He's upset.
Good to see you, HD AV. I did not read that as upset. I read that as like a sarcastic, no.
Oh man. Will Anderson thing will be interesting to see what that contract looks like. So also the Jags, they traded for Jacoby Myers. How does they trade for a lot of receivers in Jacksonville?
Well, they needed a healthy body. Myers had been productive in the slop that is the Raiders, and he did not want to be there apparently. And so they're down Travis Hunter. I think they're fibbing on Travis Hunter. I think he's done for the year, and they don't want to say it. So I think they're fibbing on him. And then Brian Thomas Jr. is banged up too.
He's also hadn't been playing very well.
Yeah, he's banged up physically and between the ears. So them getting a guy that has, for the most part of the past 4 or 5 years, has been a reliable wide receiver in the NFL, like that's a solid move for them. Now, is Trevor Lawrence still going to throw it high and throw it low and miss him? Yeah, of course, because that's what Trevor Lawrence does. But at least he has a guy that's a little bit better than the guys they've been running out there.
Rich Boy back on the chat. He says, if we had Tom Brady, he would be on the bench, a la Graham Mertz.
I mean, look, people could do a super cut of me talking all that shit about Graham Mertz if Graham Mertz turns into a good player one day.
I mean, do you think there's a chance they put him in this week?
No. That would look real dumb if you bench your hand-picked backup for a overdrafted 6th rounder. You'd look real dumb then.
You blah 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 says I blame you for selling me on Brian Thomas Jr. in both fantasy leagues. I refuse to take any accountability for myself. Hey, I made the same mistake. I thought he was going to mash. So yeah, it's but I don't know that you're feeling much better if you have Nico Collins this year. I'm not saying that's Nico's fault. I think the Brian Thomas stuff might be his fault. Like he's dropping passes. He appears to like hate physicality. But Nico Collins in fantasy is one of the more disappointing players too. So it's like these AFC South receivers has been kind of a tough go.
Yeah, and now they get to deal with Sauce Gardner.
How much of an impact do you think Sauce makes? Like in this situation, this is definitely going to be the best situation he's been in. But how much of an impact do you think he makes?
I mean, they have a pass rush that probably could have used a guy like Sauce to give them just a little bit of extra, little bit. I feel like he has a lot of impact for Indianapolis, and if their offense stays where it is, it feels to me like their defense at least has the opportunity to take a step forward and help them get to sort of that next level. I don't know that anybody's going to feel that Indy's going to be on what I guess eventually is going to be the Buffalo and the Kansas City tier, but it does solidify them in that probably that second tier of AFC contenders.
Yes. It does. Like, what is your long-term view of the Texans? And I think this is where the Will Anderson stuff comes in, because if you're going to make a move like the Will Anderson, you got to find a way to put together a complete roster. I don't think they've done that. So you can't, it's hard. I don't think they've done that. So it becomes more difficult and the impact increases as it goes on.
Well, there's a chance they have, and they just don't have the right guy to call the plays on offense.
They're still, after this season, they're probably going to need a few starting O linemen. They're going to need a tight end. They're going to need a running back. So I think even after this season, there's going to be a lot that they're going to need a lot of pieces. And
they're going to need a new veteran to play over Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins. What are you laughing at? What's so funny?
They just got to re-up Barrios. Oh, they're probably going to give Xavier Hutchinson the bag. They're going to give him like Michael Pittman money.
Please don't.
Okay, I mean, it's not my choice.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
TF Texans says, I'm happy we didn't trade for a player today, especially Brees Hall. We had him in this scheme before, and Lamar Miller wasn't that great.
I mean, I would have liked to see what Brees Hall looked like with this Texans roster, but in this offense and at least get an idea, understanding of the guy and see if you want to keep him in the offseason with a contract extension. But the Jets not moving him is silly. They did. I mean, they did some seemingly nice things today in most people's opinions, but the Jets not moving him for something because they're not going to get a comp pick for him, and he doesn't want to be there. Clearly, you watch him lash out on social media. He don't want to be there.
He's got the sad face.
Yeah,
got the sad face going. The Bearded Ways says having the Giants pick would be great if we could trust Caserio to use it correctly. I don't trust him to use his collateral to move up and add another Kenyon Green type player. At least Hall would bring speed.
Yeah, some people were saying Brees isn't as fast as he was before the knee injury. Like it was a noticeable drop off. I don't know if it's that. Like, is Brees Hall better than the running backs they have on the roster right now? Yes. Is he worth that Giants pick that they have in the third round in the 2026 draft? No, he's not. If he was under contract next year, maybe, but he's a free agent at the end of the year.
I just don't like. Rossini said they had offers on the table. I just don't know. Like, if you had offers on the table and you're basically trading your whole team, why would you not circle back and take the best offer?
Because they're the Jets.
The Jets kind of smashed today. The Jets kind of cooked.
So they could do the same thing they did a couple years ago?
So that they could give the keys to the franchise to Zach Wilson. Come on, you know this. Risque Barber says, what's the best steakhouse in Houston?
I like B&B Butchers.
Yeah, B&B's up there.
And if you will get super fancy, and then if you want to just go like old school, traditional, Taste of Texas is fun.
Yeah, I think Taste of Texas is the best experience and by far the best salad bar.
Oh yeah,
in the world. So I would say Taste of Texas if you want the experience. You got to get in there though 2 weeks, 3 weeks earlier on the reservations. That place is always popping. They got some crazy shit though. Rich Boy Jay says, is the no Brees trade proof Mixon's returning?
You may ask D'Amico tomorrow. Since you guys didn't trade for a running back, does that mean Joe Mixon's coming back? Look, it'd be a modern medical miracle if Joe Mixon plays football at any point this year.
Yeah. I mean, if it happened, like, why would he do it? Would be my question. Like, if I were advising Joe Mixon, I would say, why are you doing this? And you always get like the hard, oh, he's under contract. Okay. I mean, if I'm him, I just don't know why it makes sense. But
I mean, I wish there was more clarity on the situation so that I didn't have to speculate that Joe Mixon would make a business decision instead of coming and playing football, but there's no clarity on the situation.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
WDKS Kando says players don't complete a roster, coordinators do. Yeah, that's always the thing when you talk about the offense is you pick your poison. Like if I say, like, I've been to restaurants where the food sucks, the service sucks, and the location sucks. But when I'm ranting about the food, I might not be talking about the service or the location. So the Texans offense and the whole way in which they function as an offense is just one big shitty restaurant. So if I'm bitching about the service, it doesn't mean that I think the food and location is good. If I'm bitching about the location, it doesn't mean that I think that the food and service is good. It's a revolving circle of shit is what this offense is. It's a big porta potty of shit. If you go to NRG and you're desperately walking to your car and you got to pee and there's porta potties there and they've been out there for 8 hours and you happen to look down while you're taking a piss and holding your breath, that's what this offense is. It is one of those porta potties. It's a revolving, stinky thing of shit. That's what the offense is. So you are correct, my friend.
In the disappointing restaurant that is the Texans offense, who is what? So Nick Caley's the chef.
Nah, he's the man. He's the manager that just smokes cigarettes the whole time.
Okay, so who's the chef? Who's cooking the food?
Who's cooking the food? Caserio.
So Casario's cooking?
Caserio's cooking the food, man.
And Kaylee's the manager of the restaurant. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they've got this really nice food item that they won't put on the menu over here.
It's Jalen Noel.
So they can keep serving the microwaved French fries.
It's Jalen Noel.
Yeah.
Yep. That's Jalen Noel. No doubt about it. Timothy C says we need one back that is just big and solid, no Diddy, to get us in the end zone on the goal line. They should just run the QB sneak. Like it's not hard. Like they should just run the QB sneak. They're perfect on the QB sneak. The only time that it hasn't counted is because there was a penalty and they waited till fourth down to do it. They should just run the QB sneak. They don't do that.
But wait, when they say run it and they throw it, people second guess them. When they say throw it and they run it, people second guess them, Landry. They can't make anybody happy.
Is that a D'Amico impression?
I was trying to get to where he was, what he said yesterday.
You know what the funniest thing about it with D'Amico is that he's actually telling on himself for how much of a simp he is, because he actually does, and he did yesterday exactly what he accuses people of doing when I don't really think they do it. Like he generalizes and says, if we run it and we don't get it, people say we should have thrown. If we throw it and don't get it, people say we should have ran. I never at 1 second when they didn't score on that QB sneak said, damn, they should have thrown. Like that. I think he underestimates like the intelligence of fans, media, all that these days, which is fine. But he then has completely flipped his entire philosophy on what he said. Go back and listen to what he said about the Azeez Al-Shire hit last year on Trevor Lawrence, which was way worse, by the way, if we're being honest. Like it wasn't, he said apples to apples yesterday. It wasn't apples to apples. But he said what he said last year about the Azeez Al-Shire. And then this year with CJ, it's completely changed. So when D'Amico goes up there and tries to accuse people of being simps, he's actually the simp. Because it's a complete change in philosophy. I'm not saying you don't defend your guys, but it is a complete different change in philosophy. Like I said, okay, as a defensive coach, he's saying this. He's completely changed everything that he said. So when he accuses like fans or someone of being it, he's actually displaying the simp behavior yesterday, like at an extreme level.
Well, what if he got enlightened about quarterback hits in the offseason, Landry?
Well, that would be, I mean, maybe that's what happened. I don't think that's what happened.
He did say that he learned about the hit when he was asked about it this week.
Yeah, he said you can hit him in the chest. It was a bad slide. I wish CJ would have gotten down better. Lawrence's was a late slide too, so it wasn't good either way. But his entire philosophy has just completely changed. He's doing exactly what he says people do.
If you hit a sliding quarterback, you should get a flag. It should be 15 yards.
Yeah.
That's where I land on it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree. I agree that probably should be a flag, but like he said, the quarterback doesn't get down. He goes late. He goes late. And then, but
he's not going to say his guy went late.
I mean, stand on something, man.
He's not going to say his quarter. You got to defend your quarterback to the death at the podium.
ESG Soccer says, fire these frauds, please. Don't need Beast. Is he talking about Brees?
Yeah, I'm thinking he's Brees. Yeah.
Ryan Burnett 8251 says, if they pay Stroud, how much? Top 5, probably top 5 in the league. I don't know if that happens this year, but probably top 5 in the league.
If they, I mean, look,
business.
I'll say it the same way. Like we should be tabling any discussion about paying CJ Stroud right now. He nor the offense has performed well enough that we should be talking about paying him. And if he demands to be paid this offseason and won't show up without getting paid, then you may have to go in a different direction. You should not be held hostage by a guy that you shouldn't feel good about giving the contract to.
Yeah, but it happens.
And you shouldn't be a dumbass organization like the Jaguars or the Cardinals and pay a guy when the guy hadn't earned the contract.
The drunk Texan says, at least we got the Rockets. Yeah, 4 in a row, right? Kyle Nan says, trade Noel for a core training camp body. Come on, man.
Wait, see, that is one thing that would hurt if, like, obviously I'm not a general manager, But if I had been a general manager in a different life, I would have been I'd have called Nick Caserio today and been like, "Hey, what's the price on Jaden Higgins? You guys don't use him. What's the price on him? Hey, hold on. I got to hang up. I got Caserio on the other line. I'm going to try to trade for Jalen Noel because they don't use him. Hold on. I got to hang up." I'd have trolled him. I'd have called him today and been like, "That Jalen Noel guy. Hey, what's the price on him?"
One Mortal 2 says better to stay with Kaylee or move on and have another new OC for a third year straight. Do the McNairs have a limit of mediocrity at this point or not? I don't know that it's mediocre yet.
Well, and this isn't a McNair's decision because they've never been scared to write a check. This iteration of the McNairs, I should say, because Cal McNair's written plenty of checks to make guys go away. So this is a DeMeco Ryans question. It's not a Cal McNair, Hannah McNair question. It's DeMeco Ryans question. And the offense they would go back to is more than likely something CJ Stroud would be familiar with. Like they probably would go to a Kubiak Shanahan styled offense. The way that DeMeco Ryans publicly and glowingly talks about that style of offense.
Boy, that's a tough look. If you go away from it from a year and then go back to it,
it's a tougher look keeping Nick Caley if you think he sucks.
But it's also a weird that makes Caserio fired, right? Like if you just go back to the other scheme, like that would put Caserio on a hot seat, right?
It would either put him on the hot seat or they'd have a new general manager.
Okay.
Like on the wheel of potential outcomes, like Nick Caley figuring it out, then figuring out an offense probably doesn't exist in most people's wheel. Like if that happens, okay, then you would know the answer. If you're unsure, you probably should just fire Nick Caley and the guy that helped you get him in the building. And I don't really see a scenario where you only get rid of one of the Knicks. Like you wouldn't fire Caserio but keep Caley.
Here would be my question to this, like, and it doesn't really. I don't know.
It also goes to show you where they are as a team when this is the conversation deadline day. It's not like, oh, they could have just really solidified their spot in the AFC. Like,
my question
they're 3-5 football team.
What's the explanation? Like to the fan base, because last year was just basically like, oh, we're not worried, no wholesale changes, nothing big.
Oh,
like,
well, we got it wrong last offseason. That'd be the explanation. That should be the understanding of the situation if they fire a coordinator after 1 year, is that we got it wrong a year ago.
They're just going to say we got it wrong and go about their business. Are they going to
What
crazy to me.
What should they say?
I
mean, they've got the I mean, because it's not going to be one fall guy. They're gonna blow out the entire offensive staff if they make a change.
I mean,
we didn't do enough last offseason. We're going to do more this offseason, and everybody's getting changed over.
I think there probably needs to be a little bit of transparency on this, like a little bit of transparency to where,
well, wish in one hand and crap in the other. See what fills up faster.
No, I mean, but you've got to, if you fire an offensive coordinator for 2 straight years, then there has to be a little bit of an explanation.
Is the we messed up a year ago not a good enough explanation?
After 2 straight? No, I think the Bobby Slowick, you could say that, but on this one, there has to be, especially given the fact that you ping pong from DeMeco's system to Caserio's, and now you're going back to DeMeco's. The other thing about this is it could really, I actually think it would be the best thing that could happen to CJ Stroud.
Go back to the Shanahan Kubiak system?
Dude, because they can't, it would be the biggest, it would be like, if contract negotiations come up, it's the biggest symbol of incompetence that you can have. Like you guys,
you think for CJ would say, well, look what you guys are doing. You made my job hard.
You guys had me running a system. Then y'all made me run a different system. Now you went back to the other system. I mean, like when we're negotiating, they have zero leverage on that.
Yeah, no, that'd be a great leverage point for CJ's agent and David Mulligetta, who's going to have that negotiation, who rarely loses negotiations.
I mean, I would just want to hear them go up there and like just say, look, we've completely failed as like in finding an offense. We failed our quarterback, and it's a really bad look. And the reality is, if we don't get this right, we're not going to be here. I mean, that's what I would say. We just screwed up, because I think D'Amico probably regrets going to this Patriot thing.
Caserio had that presser 2 years ago, and then ended up nailing it for the first year.
Yeah, neutered Nick press conference. I remember that one.
Yeah.
One Mortal 2 on the chat.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
He says, better to stay with Kaylee or move on and have another OC for a third straight
one.
Okay. Yeah, mediocrity. Yeah, we just read that. Timothy C says, Colts aren't as good as everyone thinks. You shut down Taylor. That offense has no pulse. Daniel Jones threw 3 picks when Taylor wasn't able to get it going. How good do people think they are? I think they're a team that can win a playoff game. I think they're a team that can win the division. And I think they got better with Sauce Gardner. I mean,
they're good enough to keep the Texans at distance in the AFC South.
Yeah, but I mean, like, is anyone going to pick them? Are they even going to have to go to Buffalo? But yeah,
this might have, like, there's a chance we look back at today, while it's an investment in Sauce Gardner, yes, it's also like a cosign that they think Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback that's good enough to get them there, because they jettisoned the best way to go and find a quarterback, which is first round picks, either via trade for a different guy or drafting somebody. So if the people believe, much like I do, that Daniel Jones is never going to be a franchise guy, then this was a good job. This is a good thing in the long term, because the Colts won't have their first round picks, and they also won't have the guy at quarterback.
ESG Soccer says, no offense, draft picks, only D, and coaching them up. 0 free agency or trades only. Let Demick, no O, there you go, maximize our young defenders and sell them for proven offense. A lot, man. That's all. That's a big plan, ESG.
He's saying don't draft any cheap young offensive talent. Just overpay for it. And then look, ESG seems frustrated, rightfully so, because they have young offensive talent and they won't put them on the field.
Right. Chase says, how attractive of a job is Texans GM over others?
It is very attractive. And here's why I would say that. It's 1 of 32. And I know that was David Culley's main reason for taking it.
Cody Coley in the house.
You go to the back of the line of the blame game. So the likelihood that you keep your job longer if it doesn't work is higher, because you're not coming in at the same time as somebody. So you go to the back of the line in the blame game. And you would think that if they figure it out with the players that they have, you're going to get some credit regardless of how much you did or didn't do. Like you want to be the GM here? You want to be the GM in, I don't even know what GM jobs are coming open.
Miami.
Yeah, you'd rather be the GM here for sure.
Yep, that's not good.
Yeah, like the blame pecking order, you go to the back of the line. I didn't do this. This wasn't me. I didn't give the nickel cornerback $10.5 million. I didn't do that. That was the last guy.
Alan Hubbard, shout out to you, my friend. We appreciate you. He says, Texans fire Caley and hire McDaniel Once he's fired from the Dolphins, Miko plus McDaniel sounds amazing.
That's going to be, I mean, that's the most popular sentiment. It's the most popular sentiment. If Mike McDaniel wants to do that.
Yeah, he might want to chill.
He might want to chill. He might want to go do San Fran rehab like Bob Saleh. Although he'll get to call plays in Houston.
Joe Scott says, with how this offense performs, are we as Texans fan even surprised Caserio sat on his hands instead of trading for a player?
I do wonder, as we talk about like the interconnectivity of the fact that Caley very much seems like Caserio's guy in this. I do wonder if there's ever, there's ever a little you get Nick Caley to keep your job if you're Nick Caserio. It just didn't work out. Yeah, you co-signed for the guy. Yeah, but it just didn't work out.
No, but it's clearly his guy, dude.
Sure. But could you bail on your guy to keep your job if you're Nick Caserio? Sure, you could.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
That's where it comes back around to D'Amico. How does D'Amico Ryans view Caserio's role in all this?
Kevin R says, what do we need to make a trade for? Are we going to have a top 5 pick?
They will not pick in the top 5.
They pick in the top 5. That would be crazy.
They will not pick in the top 5.
So going back to the Willie Anderson thing, I said 12-33 and then a first. They actually did a flip. Jerome Kicks was fired up on that. He says you traded 2 draft picks, man. LOL. It's not like you gave up the 12th pick. You just swapped it for 3. What?
Yeah. This happens every. Oh, Jesus Christ!
No, you gave it to them like they had the 12th. This is.
So the conversation is about the use of 1 draft pick.
You gave up 3 players for 1. You gave up
the use of 3 draft picks.
You gave up 3 players for 1. That's what you did. That is crazy that he typed that twice. Jerome, you're funny. ESG Soccer says worse than his guy, full nepotism to the core. Talking about Nick Caley.
ESG is he very much has Nick Caserio as public enemy number 1. We talked about public enemy rankings. ESG definitely has Nick Caserio as public enemy number 1.
They didn't give up 12. So did they keep it? It's like if we're at lunch and let's say I trade my turkey sandwich, my chips, and my pudding for your peanut butter sandwich. Jerome thinks you didn't trade the turkey sandwich.
Wait, what did I get? I got pudding?
You got pudding and chips.
Well, you know what I'm going to do?
You didn't get the turkey sandwich.
Well, you know what I'm going to do is I'm not going to eat that pudding. I'm not going to use it as a dessert. I'm going to use the rotten apple that I had as dessert instead. After I got the pudding.
Oh man, it is what it is.
They just didn't go with 12.
ESG Soccer says, what is ESG Soccer saying?
I have the lack of meritocracy breeds discontent.
He's very upset.
He wants guys that get the job because they're the best candidate for the job, not because they know someone who is doing the hiring of the job.
Caley was a popular Caley was a popular guy, though. I mean, I don't think he was incompetent.
The resume did not display this level of incompetence.
Yeah. And it'll just be interesting to see how they handle the new era and the new way of figuring out things. That's why the Anderson stuff and all that even brought up. I didn't mean to turn it into a Will Anderson trade thing. It's just like if you had 3 players instead of 1, what do things look like? But then you get into it's not just the players. It's not just the Jimmies and Joes. It's the X's and O's. It's a lot.
I mean, look, it's never been just the helmets or just the headsets either. It's never been just one or the other.
So let's trade baseball cards, okay?
Don't do this again. We don't need to do this again.
I will give you my Mark McGuire, Craig Biggio, and Jeff Bagwell for your Ken Griffey. All right, deal? All right, swap. It's not like I gave up the Mark McGuire.
We don't need to do this.
We got to laugh somehow, man.
We didn't. No, I've been laughing plenty. You guys want to laugh? Folks want to laugh? Hold on. Before you get in this stretch here, this made me laugh.
You ain't never hate.
Swarm.
Nick Casserole eats monkey nuts. King of word salad from MacDad84.
Damn, MacDad.
Bringing the
I haven't heard monkey nuts in a while, and every time somebody calls him Nick Casserole, it makes me laugh. And it will make me laugh probably forever.
One Mortal 2 says, other than the Deshaun trade, I've always hated how Caserio blows through draft picks and cap space for subpar players consistently.
The leaking of value is incredible with Nick Caserio.
Especially for someone who only watches CNBC.
Is that's the financial channel, I guess?
That's all he watches, dude. In his office, he said it. He said it with Mark and John when they were hammering him about his decisions. Like, that's what he said. Kyle Nance says, you guys good? I'm all right. Pretty decent.
You guys good?
Cameron K. We used 1 pick on Will Anderson when we could have had 3 draft picks and drafted 3 Will Andersons. Will Anderson's a good player. It's just he's about to be very expensive, and you gave up 3 players for him. I know it's hard for Jerome to imagine because like the number 12 just disappeared. Abracadabra. That's what Caserio did. That's actually his superpower. He like trades draft picks. He goes abracadabra. We didn't trade that one.
Cameron, of course, it's Cameron with a twist of the joke. If you had $1 million or a mystery box, which would you pick? So I picked the mystery box because what could be in the mystery box? Maybe $1 million. That's good, Cameron. I like that.
Chase says big game to stay undefeated in the NCAC play Saturday. Go Blue Streaks, number 11 in the nation. Is that John Carroll?
I gotta imagine that's John Carroll. Yep, John Carroll, Blue Streaks football. I like how he went. He went and looked up the division they play in, where they're ranked. That's a good job by Chase. That's a very good job by Chase.
Do you think Caserio pays attention to John Carroll? Kaylee didn't go to John Carroll, right?
No, but he was coach there.
Interesting. Was Bobby a popular candidate? Yes, he was. Nobody criticized. I don't even think me and you after the fact. This is where we show we never criticized them for picking Bobby Slowick. It didn't work out, but you never hear me say that was a bad hire. That was a bad decision. Unless you want to, I won't say that.
They officially interviewed 3 guys for that position.
Cliff Kingsbury.
They interviewed Cliff Kingsbury. They interviewed Bobby Slowick, and they interviewed Nick Caley. And they went with Bobby Slowick.
Yeah, I don't think that it didn't work out. It doesn't always work out with an offensive coordinator. It's probably a little bit harder to hire a good one than we often give it credit for. but it's not that I don't have any problem. I don't even have a problem with picking Nick Caley. He just sucks. And I also thought, I didn't think he was just going to be a little Caserio puppet Patriot. Do you think, I want to ask this question. Shout out to everyone joining us. This is why we like the deadline stuff, because we get to talk about the big picture. 4,500 deep. But who do you think makes the decision who plays and who doesn't?
D'Amico Ryans.
Okay. Because I know it's not, I know on special teams it's not Frank Ross. I've learned that. I've learned that recently after kind of rolling my eyes at the Berrios Knoll bit. So you think D'Amico Ryans just says, I want Berrios returning kicks. I want Jalen Knoll not to play. I want Jared Wayne to play a lot. And I want Braxton Berrios to play a lot. Like,
no, I don't think that he individually says all of those things. But if Jalen Knoll gets an unsatisfactory level of snaps, the head coach could have changed that. The head coach could have made that the case. Like, he could have said, I want him to play more. I want him to play more. I want him to play less. I want this guy to play more. I want this guy to play like he has full control over that.
Because when I was talking to Jalen Knoll, he said something very interesting that I don't know if you caught this. But Nick Caley at his opening press conference, he said his hero was Tom McDaniels. It's THOM. It's either Thom or Tom McDaniels. And he's the dad of Ben and Josh McDaniels. He's a legend in Ohio high school football. He said he always grew up wanting to be a high school football coach. He said Tom McDaniels was like his hero, and that used to be who he watched when he first started wanting to be a coach. When I asked Knoll about, like, why aren't you playing, he brought up Ben McDaniels. And he didn't say it in like a bad way, but he said, like, yeah, they haven't really said anything, but Coach Ben does this. I wonder if Ben McDaniels has like some sort of control over who plays at receiver or not. Because I don't like, does Nick Caley look at Ben McDaniels as a superior? I mean, he was here before. He's obviously the brother of someone who I'm sure that Nick Caley freaking bowed down to in New England when they worked together. Like, Josh McDaniels was that dude. Like, does Ben McDaniels have some sort of weird control over this too? I'm asking because I don't really know how he looks at it, because I don't know that Nick Caley's just going up and Ben works for him. It seems like Ben might be kind of comfortable going up and giving him advice. So I just wonder, like, I'm really trying to find the stupidity of how we get to the point where Jalen Knoll's not playing as much and Higgins and the rotation. And I wonder if Ben McDaniels has something to do with it. I can see your brains going right now.
I don't give a damn what Ben McDaniels has to say about Jalen Knoll too.
No, I'm asking if he's part of the decision making.
Of course he is. He's the wide receivers coach. Of course he's a part of the decision making. Now, your theory that perhaps because Ben McDaniels' dad is a legend to Nick Caley, that maybe Ben McDaniels has too much weight in what he distributes to, in theory, what is his boss, the offensive coordinator, that would make sense.
Who is Nick Caley leaning on? Like, who is he leaning on to make these decisions? I know D'Amico, it starts and ends with D'Amico. I get that. But, like, on the offensive staff, who is he leaning on? Is he, like, leaning on Ben McDaniels? Does Nick Caserio have a say?
He's leaning on more than likely three people. He's leaning on Cole Popovich. He's leaning on Ben McDaniels, and he's leaning on Jerry Shulpinski. It's worth noting, in addition to his duties as the wide receivers coach, Ben McDaniels is also the passing game coordinator.
He sucks. And the only reason he's here is because his last name is McDaniels.
Never coached for the Patriots, though.
Yeah, but he's brothers with all their buddies. Like, and it literally, Nick Caley said his dad was the hero. ESG Soccer says Ohio frauds, Patriot frauds, children left behind. Good Lord, ESG. ESG says LL finally catching the nepotism power dynamics.
I mean, do I don't feel like I have there's not any delusions that the Patriots history guys have more say in the building than the non-Patriots history guys. Like I don't have any delusions about that. Like he previously worked with Cole Popovich. Of course he listens to him. He kept him. He's the only addition outside of Jerry Shulpinski.
Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it.
Patrick on the chat, he says that Alpha Aaron must have been foaming at the mouth because the Texans didn't give him any news to break.
Hey, bro. Alpha Aaron here.
Oh, don't worry. Alpha Aaron's got plenty. The transaction wire just dropped. Did you know the 49ers released Stone Blanton?
I did not. Do I go to
the Bills hosted Corey Couch for a visit?
Is this Aaron's tweets?
The Commanders worked out Marcus May, Kavon Wallace, Daryl Worley, and Jalen Mahoney.
One Mortal 2 says better OC, McCown or Keenum?
Josh McCown.
McCown, man. McCown train, baby. WDKS Kando says rookie OC need a vet QB to have instant success.
The problem is 2 years ago, you watched a rookie OC and a rookie quarterback light the world on fire.
Historic success.
Yeah, so that's the problem with that.
And
then the next year, a rookie had an even better year in Dayton Daniels.
ESG, is this going to be about Nick Caserio? What are the odds? Yes or no? Make a bet. Yes or no? Yes or no?
No.
Swarm.
From an Appalachian, the FIFOs are insular psycho. I don't think I know what all this means.
I have no idea. Doyle Keister says, I thought nepotism and falling upwards was just an oil and gas industry thing. Texans are way worse with the Patriot way. They've gotten rid of that, man. Caserio got rid of it. He had his tail between his legs after they screwed up the first overall pick. And then he just took his opportunity to bring it right back. He just took it right back. He got the trust, and then he just said, you know what? The Patriot way is coming back.
Well, it never really, it never truly left because that's how he operates. Most of the staff a lot of the staff in the scouting department has Patriots ties. Like, it never left. They just kind of concealed it for a while.
Damn shame. Anyway,
they probably, you know what they did? You know what he did? I'd have to talk to like a cleaning lady about this or something.
What?
I bet he listen, stay with me. I bet he proudly displayed all the stuff they proudly displayed the memorabilia of what they won as Patriots guys. And then when it wasn't working, hey guys, take that home. They took it home. And then now that the Patriot way is back, they brought it back to the office. Now it's back on their desk and, all that kind of stuff. They got their trophies and their awards. They put them back out. As one of their guys is at the helm of the offense.
Oh, my gosh. That's a lot. On that note, there's a big game. The Texans are still favored against the Jags. That's the good news. We still got a good football game to cover. We still got a team to cover. It's not optional.
Still got a chance to go to 5-5.
It's not optional. It hadn't been pretty, but it's going to be a fun game to cover. It always is fun. It's always fun, no matter what. No matter how frustrating it is, it's always fun. It could be worse.
If you didn't have fun today, I don't know what you were doing.
Yeah, I don't know what you're doing. Maybe getting mad about Will Anderson. Who knows?
Jerome didn't have fun today.
His head hurts. Jerome's head hurts. I think he's probably got an ice pack on it right now. It's all good. I wasn't that great at math. I was better than that, though. I think my daughter's better than that. She's 2. But anyway, appreciate y'all for rolling through.
Nope. You said it's not optional. There's lots of things that aren't optional. You know what else is not optional? Paying off when you owe something.
Yeah, before you do that, though, let's talk about TDECU.
Okay.
When it comes to paying. And as I read this TDECU live, what's going to happen is Cody Stutes is going to pay off his part of a deal and drink some apple cider vinegar, and he's actually going to give you the legal message. So he's not going to be able to catch his breath. As soon as I finish this TDECU ad, Cody's going to have to chug that, and he's going to have to cover our legal butts when it comes to what we have to say about the Texans debit card. Here we go, Cody. You drink your apple cider vinegar, and I will tell the people how they can score 15% off Texans gear and partner with one of the best financial institutions in town. TDECU Texans debit card. Go to tdcu.org/Texans. Sign up for that debit card. They got you covered. It's awesome. 15% off Texans gear. CJ Stroud has it. It's got that pretty logo on it. There are a lot of perks that go into having this TDECU Texans debit card, and we want you to be a part of it. But I do got to warn you, though, that there is something required.
Membership's required, insured by the NCUA. Oh. I hate it so much. Damn it. Braxton Berrios for being active.
Trucker Cam TX on the chat says, for how much I disapprove of this staff, at least we don't have Jerry Jones talking about glory holes. It could be even worse, though they made moves. They did get Quinnen Williams. That Micah Parsons trade doesn't look terrible. You got Quinnen Williams, a second and a first for Micah Parsons. That's not bad. Could have done worse. Right?
Yeah, they did a good job with their assets.
Only Bands 762 says, when you guys go into Spanky's again, we'll let you know. Stay tuned. We got you covered. Hopefully the day after a game. Hopefully the day after a game. All right, peeps. We appreciate you. Shout out to all the passionate people on the chat. Shout out to all the people doing what y'all do. Always remember, when it comes to this Texan stuff, whether they're making trades or not, we're all in it together.
Eat good, sleep good, be good. Excuse me. We'll talk Texans again soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.